Hi, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Brave Briefings, where brave men and women share either their stories or tips on how we can live in a safe and peaceful way without harassment or sexual or gender based violence. So, my question to you all is, are you brave? Hi, I am Lois, your friend for forgiveness from Walking Without Skin. And today I have another brave woman with us. I have Jiselle. Hi, Jiselle.
Hi, Lois.
Thank you so much for joining us.
It is my pleasure, indeed a pleasure to be here chatting with you today.
All the way from Trinidad.
That's right. Yay!
So, Giselle, if you'd like to just tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I am an empowerment speaker and vision coach through my consultancy, Pearls of Great Price Empowerment Services. It's a consultancy geared towards women to empower, to educate, and to enlighten, where we teach women the strategies, tools, skills to navigate through life's disruptive transition. So I focus on skills for transition management, and that could be on so many levels. But when they come away, they go with some skills to continue on this journey of life and to go through each transition effectively, learning from the past and navigating to a clearer and more strategic future. So that's what I do. And I'm also a PhD student at the University of the West Indies here in Trinidad and Tobago, focusing on gender studies. And so this is really a pleasure, as I said, to be here chatting with you on this important issue.
So, we have an expert on our midst.
Not yet.
Giselle, do you train men as well, or is it only women?
Only women, yes. Men can benefit, yes, but I think my mandate is to women.
Okay, we need to find somebody like you who concentrates on the men.
Yes. Who knows if my mandate might expand a bit, but for now, I'm focusing on women.
Fabulous. And of course, with empowerment, it's one of the key elements that I believe we need in order to be brave.
Yes.
Fantastic. So, would you like to tell us how you think we can be brave?
Well, I really liked your acronym and how you deconstructed this whole concept of being brave. And I chose the letter E, which stands for equality, empathy, and empowerment, because of course I deal with empowering women. And so that spoke to me. And I think we can start the empowerment, and I have a two-pronged approach when I think of empowering and how we could deal with the issue of toxic masculinity and gender-based violence. Firstly, through education and educating both the men and the women. You know, there is this saying, we're empowering women, but what about the men? And so I think that the strategy has to be 360 degrees. And so while I deal on the front with the women in terms of educating them on this concept of the relationship between the genders, we need to also do it on the side of the men, as you said. You know, we need someone to champion that cause. And I think we are seeing that happening now, that they are no longer being left behind. And we are championing the cause to educate both men and women. And I put it this way: we have to unlearn some things and relearn some things in terms of educating both men and women. Okay, how do we fix the relationship? Lois, we grew up with things being taught to us that, if we look back, may not have necessarily been correct. It's just been passed down, handed down. And so we see the same mistakes being made. So I think on that granular level, we need to start educating, unlearning and relearning. So that's where I would start.
Can you give us an idea of one thing that we should unlearn and relearn?
I think just what it means to be masculine in a society like this. All eyes are on the men. They are being touted as the perpetrators, and that's another discussion. But we have to look behind that. They got that concept. They were groomed into that image, and it came from somewhere. So I'm from Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean, and we have stereotypes about what it means to be masculine. One example of that stereotype is a man, he has his wife or partner, he's in a committed relationship, but he has 3 or 4 women on the side. And there's a popular calypso called The Deputy is Essential, meaning the deputy on the side is essential for this man, and that is portrayed as Caribbean masculinity. We have to unlearn that because we see that that concept of the deputy being essential is feeding into the violence that we are seeing in our Caribbean societies today. So that is one example of something we need to unlearn, relearn, and teach what it really means to be masculine. What is masculinity?
Sure, but that's a big unlearn, generally
That's a big unlearn, yeah.
unlearn. So where do we actually start?
In the family, in the home. We have to go back to the nexus. We have to go back where everything springs from. And some might say, okay, but we have parents, those who are responsible, they need training, they need to unlearn and relearn some things as well. And that is probably the truth. But we need to start there because that is where everything stems from. So get to the family, get on that granular level. Then you spread that out to our schools. When they go into the schools, when they come out of the home, they go into the schools, young men, young women, they continue to perpetrate these stereotypes that they have been taught. Yeah. And then they go into the wider society. It's entrenched. So we need to go back. First things first, start with the family.
Well, it's still a huge job because we've got to convince the families in the first place to make a
Yes.
change.
To make the change. I think it's opening up because we are realizing that we can't keep pointing fingers. We are all responsible. And so in my little garden, I could say, well, okay, I'm just a parent. What can I do? Well, you could do much. You could start with teaching those you have the responsibility for, okay, the correct understanding of what it means to be a man, a woman, in this society. These are the expectations. We need to get that message out. So you can contribute to the unlearning and the relearning to make this society a safe space for everyone to live in.
That brings us back to your empowerment of women, because if we can empower women to make a difference in the home, we can then
Yes,
make a difference in the world.
that's right. That's right. I firmly believe that.
So you have a big job ahead of you.
I do, but I don't see it. I kind of take it step by step because it can be overwhelming if you look at the enormity of the job and the responsibility. But bit by bit, I'm taking the approach and getting the job done in my way.
Well, we certainly appreciate what you're doing on your side of the world, and let's hope we've got people in other parts of the world doing similar tasks and similar projects to make a
Yes.
difference. So,
Yeah, and you see why I started, and I think I'm focusing on the family. In the Caribbean, we have a unique history that we have to keep in mind whenever we are thinking about approaches and interventions. And so we can't just transpose another methodology. Yeah, we have to take our context and we have to understand this is what we inherited as Caribbean societies. And so any intervention must be unique to our circumstance. And so the family in the Caribbean, we know our past from slavery and colonialism, and that has, and we are still seeing the impact of that today. We can't ignore our history. It is what it is. But we can use the lessons from there to chart a new way forward in terms of masculinity and gender-based violence, fixing that issue based on what we inherited. So the family is the place to start.
Well, I'm so pleased we've got somebody on your side of the world working on it. So thank you so much for joining us and sharing
Thank you.
your brave journey with us. So
Yes.
I'm asking everybody out there saying you too can be brave. You too can help us fight the scourge, this what they call now as a silent pandemic, because it's got so much
Yes.
worse during COVID. So you can contact Jiselle. We'll put her contact information down below. You can contact me on Walking Without Skin. So please do join us. Be brave and fly free. So thank you very much, Jiselle. Thank you, viewers. Please join us again for another Brave Briefing. Thank you and bye.
Bye.